Hello everybody, I hope you are all doing well. Today for our watercolor session, we will be painting a Halloween themed painting. You'll need your watercolor paper, your paints, water, some tissue, a paintbrush, a pen, a black pen would be very helpful today, and then some spare paper as always. So we'll start by drawing our pumpkins in the middle. I chose to do 2 pumpkins. You can have a couple if you want, and then we'll have some leaves at the bottom. So you can start by mixing together a dark yellow or gold if you have. A light yellow will work too. With some orange or a red if red is the only color you have. With lots of water. So we'll start by doing the outline of the pumpkin very lightly in orange to get an idea of where we want it on our page. You can draw some curves at the top of the pumpkin to make it look 3D or 3-dimensional. Then once you're happy with the outline, you can mix lots of water into your orange color and fill it in entirely. While that is still wet, you can get a darker color, so either a darker orange or a red, and add it to the edges of the pumpkin to give it some more dimension. As I always say, you don't have to be perfect with it. Just add some color here and there, and then some lines going up and down so that your blob of orange looks a bit more like a pumpkin. Once you're happy with your first pumpkin, you can go on to the next. So I chose to do a little pumpkin in front of the one that we had done. So again, take a lot of water and an orange or a red to draw where you want it to be. And then take a darker orange or a darker red to add the little lines on the inside. As you can see, there are lots of ways to make a nice orange. So mix together any sort of yellow, red, or orange color that you have. Even a little bit of brown would be nice if you have brown in your paint palette. Now for part 2, while your pumpkins are drying, we will add some leaves and a bit of dirt on the ground. Now we haven't gone through any of our words yet, so now is a good time. Our first word for today will be pumpkin, un citrouille in French. While we let some of the leaves dry, you can take a dark brown or a black to add the tops of the pumpkin, just like this. Another word we have for today is Halloween. So Halloween is a spooky holiday that is celebrated on October 31st. People sometimes dress up in scary costumes or not scary costumes, and children go from door to door asking for candy or treats. You can also add a bit of black to the stems of the pumpkin right at the bottom. While that is drying, we will add some leaves down at the bottom using a red. So you can either use the orange you have or mix in a bit more red. You can add them wherever you want. They're quite abstract, so not very perfect. Adding a bit more red just to give them a bit more life. Now, October 31st, when we celebrate Halloween, is during the season fall. Fall in French is l'automne. Next, what I sometimes like to do when I'm almost done is to just step back and take a look to see if I might want to add some more color somewhere else in my painting. So I looked back, I added a bit more green at the bottom, a bit more orange on our pumpkins. And orange is another word for today. And fortunately, orange is the same in French as it is in English. So orange. And we've done this before, but I think it's nice to add some color by spraying it on top using your paintbrush and a lot of water. I chose orange, red, and green. Now for the final step, we are going to add a face on the pumpkin because sometimes people at Halloween like to carve their pumpkins. So they open it up and they carve shapes out the front and put a candle on the inside. And this is sometimes called a jack-o'-lantern in English. So this is why we had the black pen. So I'll show you first using black paint and then black pen. You can follow along with me with the black paint, or you can use a black pen right at the beginning. So we'll start with the nose. This will be a triangle in the middle of your pumpkin. Then we'll do 2 more triangles as eyes. And the last part, you may want to watch until I'm done drawing the outline, because the way the mouth is carved is a little different than a regular smile. Now, if you, like me, used paint, you're going to want to dry it first before you touch it with any of your pen. So I got a piece of paper, but you can use whatever you want to dry it. I flipped it upside down if you wanted to let the bottom dry, whatever works for you. And then we'll add details with the pen to both of our pumpkins. You can also add some to the stems of the pumpkin, to the leaves. With the pumpkin at the corner by just adding some lines going up and down along the pumpkin like this. And then once you're sure that the black is dry on top of the big pumpkin, you can go over top with the pen to make it the shape that you want. Finally, sometimes people like to say boo at Halloween to scare people. So if you want and you like your pen, you can add the word boo, B-O-O, onto your painting. So that's it for me. Happy Halloween, everybody.